we've got our meetings every Monday from 4 p.m. till 6 p.m. Everybody is welcome to join us or ask any question whatsoever related to our work. Okay, so today we will dare to look over the rim of the teacup and have a look at Chile and try to get a bridge from Europe to Chile and to understand the climate crisis, not only as a European or worldwide, but interconnected crisis, a global crisis. So our guests for tonight, I'm very happy to have you here. It's the ONG Defensa Ambiental, as I already told. That translates to defend the environment. They are founded in 2016 for the promotion, protection, and restoration of the environment. But I guess they will tell you themselves. Okay, so Jona, just please give them their the host, and then we can start the presentations. Have fun. Wonderful, but I still cannot hear you.
No, I can hear you.
And now you stop the presentation. I mean, maybe you, Ricardo, can tell us something about you guys while we try this out, just to bridge the gap.
Yes. Well, first of all, we are really happy to have the opportunity to share with you guys. We are really glad to have this space. My English is not the best, so I apologize for my pronunciation. But no, we let's wait for Fernando start, or maybe we can change the order or the presentation. I don't know if.
Can you listen to me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Wonderful.
Wonderful. In the whole world, those applications worked in the same way. Okay.
Great.
Great. Okay.
Nice. Nice.
First of all, can you give me like the administration to share the screen, please, Paul?
Yeah, Jona, that's your job again, unfortunately.
No, I can.
You can share your screen now?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Wonderful.
Great.
Great. So, first of all, good afternoon to everyone. We are really, really grateful and honored for this invitation because we can talk about something that we must everyone take care about, that is the environment. And the objective of this the presentation is to give some short approach what happened in Chile, in Latin America, and what we try to do like NGO environmental defense or ONG Defensa Ambiental, and that we're really, really grateful, and it's an honor to be here. So I'm going to introduce myself, and after that I'm going to introduce Ricardo. We are both lawyers. My name is Fernando Cortés Mancia. I'm a lawyer from the University of Concepcion, and with me is my partner Ricardo Fres Figueroa, that is lawyer too, that is going to present after this. And the structure of the presentation is to have like an objective that is approach to the environmental problems in Chile and the birth of the environmental defenders in the whole country. So the structure is going to have like 5 parts, and the first of them is to talk about Chile and the resource. The second one is about the environmental problems in our country and what is the origin of them. The third one is the relationship between those problems, the environmental defenders and their protection. The fourth one is the environmental defenders in Latin America and Chile. And the last one is what we try to do to solve these problems in our work like NGO. So we hope that we could understand like those things, and after that you can make like some question and ask whatever you want. So first of all, we're going to talk about Chile, and we're going to talk about the characteristics of our country. That is like more of them landscapes and economy. It's a really long country that is 4,270 kilometers long. It's in the southwest of Latin America, and it has the Andes mountain range and the sea really close, like you can see in that map. And about the landscape, we must say that in our country we have like the driest desert in the world, but one of the most southernmost places in the world that is like the Patagonia. So in that way, we can say like that we have like many landscapes and a lot of resources and natural resources in our country. We have like this like confrontation against these pictures that we have in the first, like the Altiplano. That Altiplano is in the north of Chile. You can see like the Andes mountains there, and in the other place we have like the Patagonia. There you have like that is a really good landscape that we have there, and we try to show this like to show like a little bit the two landscape that we have in the same country. After that, we must talk about what are the service and the resource that goes about the economy and the productive model that we have in our country. And we have like two pictures here. The first one is the mining. Here in Chile, we are the most we are the most producer in the whole world of copper and lithium. And in the other picture, we have like a fast-growing forest that we have a lot here in the south of Chile. In that way, we must say that we are from the south of Chile. We are from Concepcion in the 8th region. And we have like a lot of those fast-growing forests, like with pines and eucalyptus. We're going to talk really short about the incomes in our country. And we must say that between the years 1980 and 2020, the incomes of the whole country goes about the service. In that way, more than 50% of our incomes are service, and the other is the export of natural resources. And what we export, most of them we export like copper and lithium mining. The copper we use it, or I mean like the United States and China use it to make cell phones or some kind of technology that they need, and it reports like the 57% of the whole exportations of the country. We export to fruits and salmon, and it gives us like 5 billion and $902 million in exportation, and pine and eucalyptus, that in the whole country, the pine and the eucalyptus have like more than 3 billion of hectares. Why we say this? Because like 100 years ago, we have like a lot of native forests here, but a lot of it was like burned. And after that, we have like a lot of pine and eucalyptus because they grow like faster and they sell it to other countries. And now we're going to talk like what are, in this way, what are the main environmental problems that we have. And we have like slaughter or sacrifice zones. And we're going to talk what are they. And we have here a concept that the CEPAL have. The CEPAL is like International Organization of Latin America. And they told us that the slaughter zone or sacrifice zone is a term used to characterize a geographic region that has been permanently subject to environmental damage or lack of economic investment. According to some scholars, commonly correspond to low-income racialized communities that bear more than their fair share of environmental damage related to pollution, toxic waste, and heavy industry. So we can see, and we're going to see in the next picture, that they look like this. In Chile, we have like 5 sacrifice zones or slaughter zones. We call it zonas de sacrificio because they're areas that are really, really poor. They are really nearby ports, and agree to that. All like the waste that they have or the pollution that they have comes from the coal and the emissions that the coal makes in the whole cities. So all the people there like have like a lot of intoxications. They try to solve the problems, and really it's a problem here. Here we have like some examples. That is Quinteros, that is the first picture. Tocopilla, that is the second one. A place that is called Petorca. I saw like 1 year ago in the Deutsche Welle a little documental that they had about Petorca, and it's really weird that happened in Petorca. You can see there like you have a river that is dry, but in the other picture you have like a lot of avocado plants. So the thing that happened in Chile, like mainly, and try to say it like in a general way, is that in Chile you can own like the soil, but in that same way you can't own like the water that is under the soil or under your territory. So the thing that happened with that is that a lot of people that have farms, they can't have access to their own water, and there are a lot of big industry that have them, like the avocados that goes to the whole world for their consumption. And the other big problem that they have is like I said, is the cultivation of fast-growing forest. And we have the example of the pines and the eucalyptus. Why this is a problem? Like we can see in those pictures, this is a problem mainly because they grow so fast, but in the same way, they use a lot of water, and the consequences of this is that the whole ecosystem that surround those places goes dry and is being affected, and after that is not good for it, because we have like a lack of environmental defense there, because we have like a lot of fast-growing forest, and like you can see, the pines are not from Chile. They are from the north of the world, and the eucalyptus, they are from Australia. So the native forest start like to dying all the time when this like fast-growing forest start to growing. It affects like the whole surrounding area that they have. And the other problem that is it's not a problem, but it's a problem that affects those people, is the indigenous people. Here in Chile, we have like a lot of indigenous people that they are in the north of Chile and they are in the south of Chile. The problem that have the indigenous people in the north of Chile is the lack of water. Why? Because the mining and the copper mining and the lithium mining try to use all the water that they have and their ancestral right have about their water. And in the south of Chile, we have the problem with the Mapuche people, that they have been like taken off of their lands that they had historically, and in one government they take it off and they give them to like very big factories, and they started like to make this fast-growing forest. And the other question is, why these problems happen? And well, we have like a diversity of factors, but the mainly factor is the change of the productive model. We have here like a picture of our ex-president Salvador Allende, that was president between the years 1917 and 1973, and maybe you know what happened here. Pinochet like throw a bomb in La Moneda, and after that, in Chile we had like another model that was like mainly hard capitalism way, and in that way of capitalism way, we have like a lot of consequence of that we can see in this way. Like we said, we have like a diversity of factors, but one of the most important of them is the rural poverty that we have, and the productive model. What this productive model make? They make new market rules since 1973. Why? Because in Chile, when Pinochet came to the power, he dictated a lot of laws that went with this new productive model, and he like take it off all the laws that we have before that. So the new rules that he made was specifically the new constitution. And what is the constitution? Well, this is like a little bit lawyers' knowledge, but the constitution is like the land where you construct a house. So they make like a new constitution that had a new conception about the property. And what was this conception about the property? It goes about that the property is more important than, for example, the environmental rights. And what happened with this? They try to make, after this constitution, they make like a new water code, a new tax code. And what was the objectives of this? Have like more foreign industry here that specifically try to I mean, they didn't try, but was like a natural consequence of that, was the lack of environmental regulation of this. And of course, this need a lot of protection with this. So, well, what happened today? Maybe you can know. Before the coronavirus that came to the world, we had a lot of protests since October 18 of the 2019. And those protests were not just about the social issues that we have, but was about too like the environmental issues that we have here in our country. We can see it in the first image. And we had like problem with the water, we had problems with how the properties goes here in Chile. After that, what happened in this context with the environmental defenders, and this is like the most objective of this presentation. The environmental defenders, they try to continue to protesting and go to the street, and we can see here some Mapuche people in the image of the left, and in the image of the right we can see, like, I think that this is Coronel, that one of the sacrifice zones, and they try to start and to make some happen here in Chile, and now we have like the chance to make a new constitution. But we are trying to make it for all the people, and we are in a new process. But the communities, the indigenous people and the organization here in our context are trying to work really, really hard to approach like this objective. So that is what we're trying to do, and it's really, I mean, it's really weird what happened in Chile, because we have a lot of protests, but we don't have like really protection for the environmental organization, the communities, and the indigenous people. And why does this happen? I mean, diversity of factors. The main problems of the environmental defenders, what are they? First of all, they don't have access to environmental justice. And I try to say with the environmental justice, that is that in Chile, they have like a lot of lawyers for, I don't know, laboral issues, work issues, justice issues. But in Chile, the government doesn't provide to the people like environmental lawyers for free. I mean, that this is for free. So the problem is that, for example, when a project comes into a poor community, what happened? They don't have money to contract lawyers on or that kind of stuff. And this is really bad for those. So that is like we will try to do, and after me, Ricardo is going to explain what we try to do in that aspect. And the other factor about the environmental defender that affect them directly is the low legal protection that we have. And one example, and really clear example, is the International Treaty of Escazú. What is the International Treaty of Escazú? It's a Latin American and Caribbean treaty, international, that try to provide us of 4 objectives that we don't have here in our country. That is the free access to the environmental information, the participation in the environmental decisions. For example, here in Chile, we don't have like participations in the decisions of the government. And mainly that happened in the environmental decisions too. For example, here we have just one process that the people can make the observation to one project, or one project that can make like environmental impact, but the participation doesn't affect the final result. It's just like, okay, I will see it, I will consider it, I don't will do it. It's like a discretional way to do it. The other problem is that with the subscription of the Treaty of Escazú, the people could have more possibilities of going to the environmental courts. Here in Chile, we have an environmental court like for 15 years ago, but the possibilities of going there is not real, because they don't have like access to the environmental justice. I mean, with this, we have the courts, but they don't have the lawyers. So that is why the NGO is trying to provide for that. And the other thing that is really crucial to explain is that with this treaty of Escazú, the communities, the organization, and the indigenous people will have legal protection. I mean, maybe you could think that why do they have? They don't have, and Ricardo is going to explain it. But the thing that we have to say in that way is that Chile is not yet ratified this treaty, and as we can see, a lot of countries in Latin America has been done, and the communities, the organization, and a lot of people is going to the street just to try to say to President Piñera, hey, you must ratify this, you must sign it, and he don't want to do it. So this is like the actual scenario that we have like with the environmental defenders here. And now Ricardo is going to explain to you what are the environmental defender goals about, what is the context of environmental defenders in Latin America, in Chile, and what we try to do to help them, and what we try to do to help these objectives that we have.
That's right. Thanks, Fernando. Well, next one presentation, please. Yes. To talk about the environmental defenders, about what it means to be a defender of the earth, I want to start with the definition provided by Global Witness, which defines defender of the earth and the environment as those who take a firm and peaceful stand against the unjust, discriminatory, corrupt, or harmful exploitation of natural resources or the environment. In other words, they are those who are dedicated to protecting and promoting human rights related to the environment. So, next, please. If we seek to answer the question of how do we get to see the situation of having to stand up as an environmental defender, we see that there are different and varied reasons why people should stand as environmental defenders. We see on the one hand that there's external conditions. Please, Fernando, ¿puedes silenciar? Thanks. Well, in the first part, no. Can you back, please? Yes. In the first part, we see external condition. Could you silence, please? Yes. We see external conditions that affect them.
Fernando, if you still are not muted, so we get this strange echo. It would be nice if you could mute yourself there somewhere at the bottom of the
Okay, I
button.
will.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay. As I've been saying, there's external conditions that affect the environmental defender. One of the most relevant is, could you back one, please? The poverty and the vulnerability. That is a general condition of many environmental defenders. And well, the poorest sector are those most affected by the effect of climate change and the natural disaster that it could be generated. And ironically, they're also the ones who contribute the less to the generate of the effect of the climate crisis. So it's really contradictory, that situation. Next one, please. Other way to be an environmental defender is for the arrival of environmental threats of the territories where they live. Another of the main cause is related to the arrival of extractive mega projects in their territories, habitated by the communities or in place of high environmental value for these communities and this ecosystem. Next, please. Here we can see that that kind of project could generate diverse environmental impacts and threat to the place where the people are located. For example, we can see an alteration of the people's life systems. This project could be generate serious interventions on the natural environment, could be generate an obligation to leave their territories by force. And also, this project could be generate contamination of water or water source on other resources necessary for the development of life. So this is one of the ways that we can see that the people could be an environmental defender. And the another, next please, is for a voluntary reason. On the other hand, there's another group of people who rise up as defenders of the environment, not because they are directly affected by a project, as I said in the previous case, but voluntarily decide to take on the defense of the environment, motivated by the vocation and the need to face the undeniable reality of the climate crisis that we face as humanity. So as environmental defender, we can find so activities, ecologists, social and environmental organizations, NGO. Well, you can see here Greenpeace, the WWF, that are one of the most famous. We can see Greta, you guys, your organization, also as ONG, also identified as environmental defenders. So that's the context in general of the environmental defender. And now we go to Latin America and the Latin American context for the environmental defenders. And well, with respect to Latin America, we have to begin with an unfortunate statement, and that is that Latin America remains the most dangerous place for the environmental defenders. We are talking about murders. According to data from 2019, the Global Witness recorded 212 killings of people defending the land and the environment, making it the last year the year with the highest number of recorded deaths of people defending their homes. In Latin America, Colombia, Brazil, Guatemala, Honduras, y Mexico, with 132 deaths, are the countries with the highest number of murder of environmental defenders. So the context in Latin America is really complicated because in our continent kill environmental defenders. And next, please. The situation in Colombia, in particular, is really complicated because 64 defenders were killed in Colombia the last year. It accounts for the 30% of the documented killing in worldwide. It means also an increase of 115% compared to the 2018. And one of the most complicated problem was that the indigenous group were particularly at risk. They account for a half of the documented killing in the total in Colombia. A half were indigenous groups. So there are really complicated situations. Next, please. And well, one of the most emblematic murder in the recent years in Latin America is the case of Berta Cáceres. She was an environmental activist in Honduras. She was an indigenous Lenca woman and one of the best known human rights defenders in Honduras. She worked for 20 years defending their territories and the right of the Lenca people. Sadly, she was shot and killed by a hitman in his home in 2016. Later, the investigation proved that the hitman was financed by the company that Berta was facing. So it was a really important cases in our continent. Next, please. And well, we have murders, but there's other forms to treat the rights of the environmental defenders. Countless defenders have been silenced through threats, harassment, arrest, lawsuit, and a criminal complaint, where there's abuse of the law to intimidate the environmental defender. And even we have cases of defamation of the environmental defenders, so they couldn't do this job. Next, please. Another cases relevant in our continent is the case of the Wayu Women's Force from La Guajira in Colombia. It's an organization of women who for years have opposed to the largest coal mine in Latin America as part of the effort to protect the right of the water for the communities living in one of the Colombia's poorest region in their zone. In the case of this organization, the women have been constantly threatened and with death and erased. The threat have not only been directed at them, but also have been directed at even their young children. So are really complicated situation of threat at the environmental defender in Latin America. Next. Now I'm going to talk about the situation of the environmental defenders in Chile, where although we do not see such dramatic attempt of light as in Colombia or in Brazil, but as Fernando pointed a few moments ago, in the same way that there are various situations of conflict and violation of human and environmental rights in our country. where the environmental defenders are directly involved in our country. Not yet, please. In that way, the National Human Rights Institute has revealed that by 2018, there's 118 socio-environmental conflict will be active throughout Chile. In addition to these cases, 118, we must also consider a series of other conflicts not identified by the National Human Rights Institute, which show a large number of conflict situations between communities and the extractive company in our country. That is the principal problem. The companies, the industry, and the conflict with the place, the people who live in their territories. Next, please. Here we are one of the main environmental organization in Chile. We find different environmental organizations and movement in Chile that have led the defense of the territories in the recent year. We have, for example, Modatima, that it's an organization that fights to recover the water as a human right. We have CODEF. CODEF, it's one of the main defenders of the flora and fauna of our country. Chile Sustentable, it's an organization that has been fighting for several years for improve the environmental regulation and the environmental condition of our country, and other movement as No Alto Maipo, a civil organization who fight against one of the most biggest hydroelectric centrals that pretend located in La Cordillera in Santiago. Next, please. And well, in our country, sadly, we also have some case of murders of environmental defenders. The most iconic is the case of Macarena Valdez in the 2016. She was a socio-environmental and indigenous activist. She led the fight against the installation of a hydroelectric plant of the Triangle River in the Araucanía, in the south of Chile. And well, the official cause of death is suicide. But his family, his friend know that that it's really questionable. The investigation is not closed, and there is a suspect that it effectively was a murder and not suicide. Next, please. Another emblematic case is the case of Alejandro Castro in the 2018. He was an union and environmental leader. He do his job in an environmental sacrifice zone, Quintero Puchuncaví, and the same situation. The official cause is of his death is suicide, but that is really questionable. Is a situation that happened constantly in our country, but in a strict, we think that he was murdered. He was not commit suicide. Sorry. That is the situation of another environmental defender as Alejandro Castro. And well, this is the context, and under this scenario that our ONG carries out its work. We are a team of professionals who work with the environmental defenders of the south of Chile in defense and the promotion of their human rights. What we do for environmental defenders in our work? Well, our objective as organization is the promotion, protection, and recovery of the environment. And what we do to get it, on one hand, we support the environmental defenders. We are technical tools at the disposal of environmental defenders working to support them in their struggle to defend their territories. That is one part of our job. And the other is us, we also believe that we are environmental defenders, acting as an organization that seeks to position itself as a relevant actor in the discussion of the safeguarding, exercising, and strengthening the right environmental defenders. We want to take an active role proposing change and improvement that will help the community to do better the environmental defense. So next one, please. Well, this is us. This is a part of our team. Several members and collaborators that integrate our ONG are missing. This is a picture for our website. And some characteristics of organization. First, we are a young team. Most of us are between 20 and 35 years old. We also are a multidisciplinary team. We are integrated by lawyers, biologists, environmental engineers, geographers, anthropologists, and another profession. We try to cover the different dimensions of the environment, and that allows us to approach the environmental conflict from different dimensions. We also are, and we work with environmental conflict. We work with the environmental defender, with communities involved in environmental conflict, mainly in the central and the southern of our country. Now we work with more than 25 different communities, all threatened in their environmental rights. And also we have a territorial work. Another aspect that characterizes us is the work that we do in the territories. We try to know the place we defend, and we try to integrate the environmental defenders in the defense of and the different actions we work together in defense of their territories. Next, please. So if we check our work, we have four mainly line of work. The first of all is the access to the environment. One of our main lines of work, and which is how our ONG was originally born, is the legal work, through which we represent the communities and environmental defender in environmental court. We represent in state entities with environmental competence. We seek to exercise and exhaust the different legal and administrative instances to oppose the relocalization of different to oppose the realization of different mega projects investment and extractivism, which project a serious impact for the communities, for the territories where this project intend to be located. So we work with communities actively involving them in the exercise of their environmental rights. Another line of work, yes, is the environmental democracy. We seek to strengthen and encourage the exercise of environmental right by environmental defender. We want to support environmental defender, supporting that they could use the space that are available for them. We work strengthening of organizations. We work with them. We support them that they work better to do their work. We work so more communities can access more and better the space of participation, and they could exercise their rights. We work that the citizens can access to the instance that environmental institutions make available to them. Like our idea is all the space available for the environmental defender were used by the environmental defenders. Next one, please. On the other side, one other of our lines of work is the citizen participation. We focus our work to support the communities so they can intervene in the decision making that occurs in their territories. We try to the people involved in the decisions that affect their territories. We work in a space of participation with environmental evaluation of projects and process of regulation and territorial planning. And also we are working to generate a democratic participation process linked to the new constitution that we are going to work in our country. So the citizen participation is really important in our work. And the last one line of work is with native people. We work, we promote the process of consultation with indigenous people regarding decisions that may affect them. We fight for the application of the Convention 169, the OIT. We seek to help to rescue the historical tradition and the spiritual and cultural practice. And we value the what it means to be a native people in Chile. As Fernando says, the regulation is really bad for our native peoples. So we work with them to support them to they can exercise his right, and also they can exercise his role as an environmental defender. So this is our last line of work. And to finish, if we check our long-term objects, what does we want to do in long terms? Well, first of all, we want to continue with our work, doing what we do almost. We want to be influence public in environmental policies. And we want to also work in the new constitution with environmental matters. Our idea is that we can generate an ecological constitution in our country, in that generate more rights for the people and allow us to have a better relation between the nature and the production and the economic develop of the country. That's one. Thank you. That is the.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? I'm sure there are. Just go and unmute yourself, or just write them right into this chat and ask your questions. maybe to make a start, I would like to ask, but did they have any consequences in the end? Have there been any consequence in the end that this for the company who hired this hitman, or did just nobody cared in the end?
I mean, I could try to answer that. I think that it depends about the weapons or the things that we can use here in our country, because a lot of people here, they care about it, but the problem is that we almost don't have like all the rules for us to make like the changes here. So the big companies know that. So that's why they come here. That's why they come to Latin America. That's why the mining in Peru is going to that way. That is why in Brazil they burn the forest. Is and we think like an economical logistic, you know. So the only thing that happen is like there are other countries that have like more resources, and it's like a better economic decision to go to other countries to make those projects, I think. So maybe in that decision they consider like the economic way, and the other thing is that the laws that take care about the environmental. For example, here in Chile, like 2 years ago, we have like the environmental court. So the mining here in Chile is like going decreasing, but in Peru it's going like upgrading, because in Peru the environmental justice is worse than here in Chile. So I think that it's like an economic decision of the big groups in the whole world that goes to one place or to other place. I'm talking like about like BHP Billiton of Anglo American, for example, that they decide to go to the country where the economic decision is better. I think that goes about it. I don't know if someone have another question. Traje room de questions. Thanks, Diana.
To be honest, it seemed quite how do you say it, grim. And then the kind of, or like the light which shines on the future kind of seems this change now on in the constitution. So I wonder, like, do you feel like running against walls, or are you at the moment optimistic for brighter and better future when it comes to environmental protection in Chile, or the whole of Latin America, which is maybe a different thing?
Well, I think that, and I think that all the people that work in this part of the history is very optimistic about that is what happened in the whole world. And I mean, with this invitation, the thing that is happening, I mean, in Hong Kong, and all the social issues that they are happening, the same coronavirus is an environmental issue too. So I am optimistic by myself, because with the pressure of the people and the pressure of the ideas in Latin American countries, we can change the things and the rules of the game. In that way, we have like the historical opportunity on April of the next year to choose some people that could write a new constitution. And the whole history of Chile has just like 200 years. We were like conquered by Spanish, and that's why we speak this language. So in that way, in the whole history in Chile, we never had this opportunity to make this new constitution. So I am like really concerned, and in that way I am really optimistic about what is going to happen. But it's really sad in the other way, because we can see that the only way to do the things is to put the ideas and maybe go to the streets to say, hey, I want this. I mean, like the pressure of the people and the pressure on the streets maybe is one of the most objective way to approach the objectives of the environmental injustice that we have. So in that way, I'm very optimistic, and I think that we are going to change a lot of things here. So I'm quite happy about that.
So Diana's asking if you or your colleagues have experienced any kind of violence or threats because of your work.
Maybe the case in San Fabian with a process when the state, the MOP, Ministerio de Obras Públicas, decide to relocate families. There's a process, an environmental process, but finally that process was more slow than what the ministry expect, and finally they decide to go to the cops and destroy their house, leave the people out of this house, and they were living in the street. They maybe Fernando can tell you the detail, but that was a really important case when we see directly the power of the state and all the vulnerability of the environmental defenders in a situation that still continue with no result on a final resolution.
Yeah, according to the thing that Ricardo is saying, here in the flag by like the hills here, we have like a very big project that is called Embalse Punilla, that is like a very big pool of water to produce like energy. In that way, they like take it off like a lot of the property of a lot of people that were living there, and they were really old people, and they only like chance of surviving was like the farms. So that is violence, I think, and that is violence because they tell them, hey, you have to go to another place, and they don't know how to they make their own life in another way. So they didn't want to go. So one day at 4 a.m. in the morning, the police came and told them, hey, you have to go, and they destroyed their houses. And that was that really, and we didn't saw that in the newspaper. So it's like really sad, because sometimes you have like to take your own picture of that injustice problem. But here in Chile have something with the formal ways to know about the information, and in that way that was really sad for the people, because they didn't want to go, and they did it at 4 a.m. in the morning, and that was totally illegal.
There was almost 60 or 70 cops for a family of 4 people, so it was really violent.
In the chat, Wolfgang sent an article about the how the paper industry of the need of paper in Europe kind of destroys forests. If I just scrolled very quickly over it. And it made me think about a very popular topic is always the soy production for our German beef and pork and stuff like that. So my another question of me would be like, what are parts where we as the West, at the Europe, is in a way helping to destroy your nature? Where are we too interconnected?
Yeah, it's really weird that it happened here because, for example, the clothes that we use is just we know where those come from. It's come from India. A lot of children they making that, but I think that we must be like really objective with this, and we must like try to do more. For example, in that way, I think, like a lawyer, that the ideal way to approach those problems is that all those countries could like have like agreements of how can we talk about some problems. For example, the same thing. Latin America is not the most poor place in the world. I think that is more like China, India, or South Africa, I think. But I think that the whole world must be like interconnected to have like rules to have like more protection to environmental. Why? Because, for example, in a lot of countries, they have like a lot of emission, and they take care about their emissions, but those emissions in that part affect the other part of the world. So it's like you don't have to do the job in your own country. You have to try to do the job in the whole world, because it's the whole ecosystem. It's a whole ecosystem that happens. And if we all know, maybe that because we are here in this conversation, that I think that we must try to solve those problems. And I think that we have like the obligation to do that, and we deserve to do that, because in other way, the next generation don't we have that we have. And maybe, for example, if you could have like a son and you say, hey, come to Chile, maybe those landscapes that I show you up will not be anymore here. So I think that in a legal way, we must take like minimal agreements, but in a worldwide, not like the European Union or Latin American Union, in a kind of worldwide agreement about the environmental. I think that could be like the most romantic way to do it, but I think that I hope that really.
I've just seen that. There's the long-awaited part in the chat. So Helen, Yannick, friends of mine from our group, they ask, do you work full-time as activists, or is it a free time engagement next to being a lawyer? Or maybe, if it is so, I would like to ask in which ratio it stands, like 50-50 or that kind of.
Well, that start as a hobby, a free time, working as friend, and step by step we were growing, and now we are working full time as environmental defenders. It's difficult. We are an ONG. We don't have much money, but at least we are working in what we want to work and doing what we want to do. So maybe it's difficult, but it's a goal that we are checking. And now we are, a part of our team is full-time, others still being half-time, and we have a lot of volunteer work also that we that support us as organization to do our work.
That's very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, just feel free to ask any more questions. Just speak them right into this room, or type them into the chat. Or if no questions are coming, we can also get to an end. But I'll give you a few minutes or so just to maybe come up with some questions, because I guess there are still a lot of things we could talk about. Well, okay, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. It was very interesting. I was shocked, to be honest, in a way, with especially the part about the violence, because I mean, like, it's also very. It's hard when we do our fight for climate justice here in Germany. It's also a fun thing to do in a way, because I don't know, you're with your friends and you do something good, but it's hard to see that in other parts of the world it could cost your life. So thank you for doing this important work. Thank you for putting you out there, and thank you for being with us.
Maybe a last connected questions to what Paul just said. Well, we are sitting in Germany trying our best to do something for the environment too. Is there any way we can support you, or we can connect, or any chance to help you?
Yeah, of course, that could be great. For example, for us, there are students for future in the whole world. We have like a student for future in Concepcion, so it was like we had the invitation from you, and was like, what? We're going to talk in Germany. That was like really good. So I think that we could talk. Maybe I think that you could like follow us in our social networks. We actively to show what is happening in this country. We will be really able to talk with you and see what we can do and how can we provide to you some information that maybe you could use. Maybe we can make an alliance, I don't know. But that could be really grateful for us. For example, we make like publicity to those talks, because it's like we're talking in Germany, you know. It's like we're a South American country, and the people is like, hey, maybe we can talk in this way. And suddenly we both talk English. So that is the way I think that we should do it. But we agree. Hell, and a lot of people have my number. We can talk, we can see what we can do, but we're really grateful for this opportunity and the opportunity to show what we do and what we try to do. And we are really conscious that our work it's not like in this age. We try to make like an institution that provides these weapons and these tools to the people and continue and goes and goes and goes. So we're really, really grateful for this.
Yeah, I think that was been very nice ending words. I've got your number, so I'm sure we can stay in contact, and we can figure out something to support each other in a way. That would be amazing. For our guests here, just for the listening, next week again will be we will have the sorry, just let me start again. Next week it will be German presentation from Artec called Neue Maßnahmen für den Klimaschutz. This won't be happening here on our big blue button. They have like the separate thing, but you will get the link. And the week after, we will see each other back here on big blue button. So thank you very much for everyone who has been here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the interest. Thank you for joining in. It's a nice evening, at least here in Bremen. I hope you do also have nice weather now outside. And yeah, and enjoy and have a good night.
You too. Thanks a lot. Really. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, and have a nice day in the other part of the world.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. Thanks a lot.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Goodbye.